Ashley, good afternoon to you. I'm not particularly enamoured and impressed by that last MP chap. It seemed to me to throw up more questions than it did answers. I'm not Columbo, but I think there was something a bit iffy in what he was telling us there.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ian. Yeah, I think, look, from Maccabi GB's perspective, we believe it's an outrageous decision. As an organisation, we work exceptionally closely with Lord Mann, the government's independent advisor on anti-Semitism, and collectively, I know Lord Mann's been working with the police, with UEFA, and with both clubs, following his detailed report around the Amsterdam match, and gave recommendations of how this can and should be policed safely to enable all fans to come support and celebrate what is a fantastic football and sporting event.
I mean, there's a couple of things that I instantly took away from this, Ashley. Number one is that we're not talking about 30,000 fans coming here. I mean, that's the first point, which I think is very relevant to concerns of safety, likely to be in the hundreds. Secondly, it is... there are other options available. It's not as if there's no other option, that the only thing you can do is an outright ban. There's quite a lot of other possibilities between an outright ban and the other avenues they could have gone down.
Personally, I don't think playing behind closed doors is what we should be looking or striving for.
100%.
As you say, it's maybe 100, maybe 1,000 supporting fans from Tel Aviv, and I'm sure probably local Jewish community also will want to go and support a team that they will have a strong affinity with. The fact that the police are able to appropriately and safely police the marches that have taken place weekly, specifically in London, but around the country, but can't actually offer the safety for football fans coming to cheer on their club, it raises a lot of questions, especially when I know personally, having worked with SAG groups in other councils to put on large-scale events, it's around the mitigations and putting safety in place. And I cannot believe that this is the only high-profile event that the Aston or the Birmingham area have had to deal with, especially when I think they're one of the stadiums that want to be hosting one of the next European Championships in 2028. So it doesn't fill me with confidence. And absolutely, people want to come and just support their team.
You're right. I mean, the optics are absolutely horrific on this in comparison to other large gatherings of people. As you mentioned, the protesting that's taken place almost on a weekly basis. You know, even on the same day as an attack, the terrorist attack, these marches were taking place, and they still went ahead, and nobody said a darn word in that respect. So when you see something like this, you are kind of forced into a kind of cul-de-sac of opinion that you really don't want to go there. You think, well, I didn't want to think like this, but in the absence of any other logical reason, I'm now looking at this thinking, well, it's a bit strange, isn't it, that there's, you know, you can control 50,000 people who appear to hate Israel and Jews, but you can't somehow guarantee the safety of 300 or 400 Jews. That seems to me extraordinary.
Absolutely. There's not many things that unify the political front and back benches, but from what I've seen today, and which, you know, the Prime Minister was very quick to come out and ask this to be reviewed and give his, I think he said he was angry about what had happened all across the political spectrum. And I believe as well that the West Midlands Mayor, the leader of the Birmingham Council, and even the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner are looking at reviewing this. That actually, I think maybe somewhere, somehow, something has gone across, because absolutely, I can't make excuses or condone hooliganism or violence on any supporting. I'm a Tottenham fan and have gone to many away matches in the UK and abroad, and there's always going to be that horrible. Wherever football is, you have the extremes, and absolutely that needs to be cracked down. But to actually look at, and as the MP would look at the incidents that took place in Ajax, you know, my colleagues in Maccabi Netherlands, they were the ones on the streets of that night, going around in their cars and helping Tel Aviv Israeli supporters who were just caught up in this pre-planned attack, and they were the ones that opened up their buildings, the offices, to give refuge to friends and family of people that were there just to support their team competing in a football match.
Yeah, it does seem to me. I was talking to some of our colleagues at TalkSport earlier, and there seems to be, I mean, unqualified at this stage, but a good body of belief that this decision will be reversed at some level, or certainly diluted. Do you share that?
Yeah, look, I really believe, again, as I said, there's not many things that can get all political parties and to come out unanimously and say the same thing or similar things. I think, yeah, absolutely. I believe the Prime Minister, he knows, and the government know, as you said, that the British Jewish community have been suffering with anti-Semitism, have been suffering with the horrific terrorist attack that took place on Yom Kippur in Manchester. And we want to go about our day-to-day lives as any other citizen could and should. And I think, when the government and the Prime Minister say that they're going to support the Jewish community, this is actually, by reversing this, is absolutely something that I would hope he and his colleagues in government are able to do, because, yeah, it just seems that absolutely they've got this completely wrong. And if they can't secure a few hundred or 1,000 away fans, then I question how they can secure many things that go on in the city, be it football or other Jewish communal or other ethnic minority events that take place.
Yeah. Well put as well. Listen, Ashley, great to have you on with us. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. Ashley Lerner, CEO of Maccabi GP, an Anglo-Jewish sports health and wellbeing charity. Thank you to him. Let's get a word from Jonathan Sashadoshi, journalist and broadcaster. Jonathan, good afternoon to you. Nice to have you with us. Look, I mean, this is clearly terrible optics, as I was just saying to our last guest. Was this blind panic, do you think, from the police and Birmingham Council?
I don't think it's just bad optics, and I don't think we can let them off with something like blind panic. I think this is a really sad reflection of where we've got to today as a country. This is Great Britain, where we're basically saying that the police can't allow Jews and Israelis to be at a football match because we've allowed unbridled hatred of Jews and Israel to seize the country for so long. And for the government now, or the Prime Minister now, to be posturing that they're going to do something about this, really what they need to do about this is start by repenting for having caused this. They have permitted this to take place over the last 2 years. This government, not quite that long, but they haven't done anything to stop this happening. And, I think this is an opportunity, actually. It gives us the chance to flush out those people who are acting against our British ways, those people who want to ban Israelis and Jews from public events, those people who make petitions calling for such outrageous discrimination and persecution. It's brought them to the surface, and now we can see exactly who they are and how they act, and we as a society can react to them. And that includes Ayub Khan, that MP, who made that video, who said he was making the petition. This is a man who, when he was a Liberal Democrat councillor after October the 7th, 2023, those horrific, brutal, barbaric Islamic attacks on people in southern Israel, he said online that he was doubting some of the first responder testimony. He said that he hadn't seen evidence of the rapes. This is somebody that was literally casting doubt on what was going on October the 7th, and that is within a few days of those brutal and horrific attacks. And I can tell you that there was plenty of evidence, because I watched it all coming through on Telegram, and I watched it all coming through from Hamas and other Palestinian sources who proudly streamed it. So I think we can see what lies behind this man's comments and his actions. And if the police have been able to effectively police these repulsive marches which have caused the climate of hatred against Jewish people that offend all decent Brits, if they've been able to police those safely for 2 years, and we're meant to believe that they couldn't have managed to keep some Jews and Israelis safe at a football match this once, I'm sorry, I've got a bridge to sell you in that case. This is a serious disgrace to this country, and it's about time. Unfortunately, it's beyond time. 2 Jews are dead as a result of this kind of climate. They were killed by an Islamic terrorist.
It is beyond fascinating, isn't it, that we've I always seem to use this phrase, the place we've arrived at in the 21st century, where an ally and a first world democracy in Israel, Jews who've assimilated and literally no issues and social cohesion problems in that respect, clear similarities culturally, values, etc. That group would be the group that's been relegated, but the hate group of tens of thousands who support and almost worship a medieval death cult and a terrorist organisation, we're fine with that group, but not our closest ally. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Well, they're afraid, aren't they? I can only assume they're afraid, or they are allying with such a group for other nefarious reasons, to undermine the same things that they also don't like, even if they don't share the ideology that motivates that dislike. And I would say that this unhealthy obsession with Israel, this undermining of Israel that we see on the populist left and that we see also inside these Islamist groups, what they have in common is a dislike of the West and of Western values. Israel for them represents that, and so every opportunity, and you know, it doesn't take a lot to understand what's at stake here, because we saw it happen in Amsterdam. To hear that MP again suggesting that what happened in Amsterdam was actually racism from Israeli football fans rather than effectively a modern day pogrom against Jews and Israelis who were in that city, again, it just shows you what's going on in his mind. I'm pleased he feels proud enough to share it, because people in this country really need to know what's going on in the minds of our MPs. He's made it very clear, just as the terrorists on October the 7th made it clear, just as the Islamists always make it clear what they think of us. It's time that we stopped pretending that we don't know what they think when they very clearly tell us and very clearly act on it, whether it's in Amsterdam, in Kibbutz Be'eri, in southern Israel, inside Gaza with what they did to the hostages, many of whom have now been released, some dead ones still not released. We know exactly what they mean, we know exactly what they say, we need to start listening to them. And the last opportunity I want to mention this is, it's an opportunity for Jews to understand yet again what we're faced with and to make plans for how we react. Many are planning their exit from this country, many are planning how to hide their Judaism better, and some are planning how to stand up and fight against this. And there are many decent Brits, non-Jews, who are going to show up at that football match, wave Israel flags. They've been contacting me all morning. There are many people who are going to go there and show that they will not stand for this anti-British behaviour.
While you're with us, Jonathan, I just want to get your reaction to this. This is a Birmingham-based British Islamic preacher who's urged his followers to show, quote, no mercy to Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans if they visit the city next month. Let's have a listen to what he says.
We safeguard the vulnerable from any type of exploitation. That is the character of a Muslim, who has a Muslim as a rahmah. Remember, rahmah is in its place. It's in its place. When the Tel Aviv fans come to Birmingham in a few weeks, we will not show them rahmah in Birmingham.
I mean, I don't know how much kind of evidence we need, Jonathan, than that, really. I mean,
what did they put Lucy Connolly in jail for? What did they put Lucy Connolly in jail for in record breakneck time? And then we see, you know, she said she wouldn't care if they burned down the mosques or something to that effect, and she was put in jail. And somebody inside a mosque can say we should show no mercy to Israelis who come for a football match. And he's not in jail, as far as I'm aware. And it doesn't matter what Keir Starmer or David Lammy or any of them say. Jewish people know what's happening. British people know what's happening. And what's happening is that 2 Jews were killed on our holiest day in a synagogue as a result of an Islamic terror attack. And it's just enough. It's enough. You know, people of this country have had enough of this, and they need to stand up against it. And if the first place they can stand up against it is at that football match, waving proudly flags of Maccabi Tel Aviv, of Israel, standing up for Israel, this country's ally, then I say go for it.
Well, and we got cultural aliens such as this telling us, you know, show no mercy. I mean, man alive. What century are some of these people in, for goodness sake?
The thing is, they're living in this century, and they're still doing whatever it is they're saying. Show no mercy. On October the 7th, they showed no mercy. When they drove down from Bradford to London and drove through Jewish neighbourhoods, shouting from cars with megaphones, raped the Jews, F their mothers, F their daughters, those people also not in jail, and that is more than 2 years ago. It's about time people took this seriously, because it's not just a threat to us Jews, it's a threat to all of us Britons. And this is something that really needs to be sorted out with much more than these sort of platitudes and crocodile tears after people are killed. It's time to stop the causes of this kind of violent climate that's seizing this country, and it's just absolutely unacceptable. Most British people I know are disgusted by this.
100%. Jonathan, thank you. What a grim story to have to talk about. Jonathan Sachadochi, who is a journalist and broadcaster. You can hear how angry he is.